Thank you for this opportunity for us to present this call to action. Now, we all know the importance of early years, but still today, there is a significant lack of investment and commitment in this early child development space, especially the first 1,000 days. And indeed, it's not just important, but today is a pressing challenge for us to really unlock potential. In Tanoto Foundation, we believe that quality education accelerates equal opportunities. And in our programs in 3 countries, we aim for children to be ready for school, to accelerate learning outcomes, and for them to become future leaders. We also believe that individuals have to live a healthy life. So we invest in medical research for diseases prevalent in Asia. Now, recent UNICEF report in 2022, as the pandemic subsides, actually tells us that we are in a critical moment, requiring accelerated progress and investment in early child development. Therefore, we need to raise awareness for the first 1,000 days. We need more people like you and your like-minded organizations to really come together and collaborate and address this growing challenge. This report also says that there is actually no one-size-fits-all solutions. So starting in 2017, we decided to embark on a learning journey, and we've learned that investing as early as possible actually generates the highest return potential. So individuals can actually accelerate their potential to learn, progress, and develop socially and economically throughout their lifetime. For every $1 invested, actually a recent report shows not just $7 anymore, actually increased to $12, and it is increasing even more. Unfortunately today, young children across the world, approximately 40 million of them, are not accessing quality early child development opportunities. This creates a risk for all of us, approximately more than $1.5 trillion over the next few decades, if we don't do something in early child development. Today, differing levels of commitment and investment actually slows down progress, and this is exacerbated by the pandemic. Again, this report shows there is a limited availability of contextualized models and investment approach. This is why Tanoto Foundation decided that we need to invest more and focus in 0 to 3, the first 1,000 days, and identify what can work. So we didn't work from a vacuum. We adopted the nurturing care framework into a contextualized, localized, highly implementable model, starting with sustainability and scalability in mind. To briefly explain, the nurturing care framework puts focus on the importance of primary caregiving, to give children the opportunity to have their rights to good health, good nutrition, a safe space and relationship, and also opportunities to learn. Now, in our centers, we provide opportunities for caregivers, parents, grandparents, and children to have early childhood cognitive stimulation opportunities. And we also do home visits to make sure that actually change does transfer from the center to the houses. Our pilot of 23 and 39 centers in Indonesia and China had trained over 400 facilitators and impacted more than 5,000 children since we started 2 years ago. Let me share a story of Grandma Lee from a rural village in Wulian, Xiangxi, Susanto, about 6.5 hours drive from Shanghai. Before coming to our centers, which we call Hope Centers, her grandchild did not have the ability to speak. He wasn't able to interact with his surrounding and was not cheerful. After a few visits to our centers, the grandchild began to interact well with his surroundings and began to learn, even recite traditional Chinese poem. Now, we also support this with impact measurement that we conducted with Shaanxi Normal University and Beijing Normal University two of the most respectable universities in China in early child development. Today, the Hope Centers are being adopted and scaled up through government partnerships. Now, let me summarize. I cannot tell you more the importance of the first 1,000 days. Now, with our experience doing this already, we would like to invite every one of you to collaborate together and really come together and increase significantly investment in early child development. We would like to invite you later on our deep dive session where we can discuss and answer any questions that you would like. Thank you so much and have a great day all.
Good morning, everyone, and you have to forgive the jet lag because I am on London time. At UBS, we believe that we need to reimagine the power of investing, and including reimagining the power of investing philanthropic capital, catalytically. And we also want to connect people for a better world, which is what we're all doing here this morning. A world in which every single young person, especially those who are most affected by inequality, have the opportunities in life to achieve their full potential. And one of the ways that we can achieve this, as we just heard from the other presentation, is through access to a high-quality education from early years through to our higher education, because we know it's a pathway out of poverty. And it benefits our whole community. It creates the future heart doctors that we so desperately need, as we heard this morning in Indonesia. But the truth is that we are facing a global education crisis. 617 million young people worldwide are being failed by the system that they're in. They're simply not gaining basic maths and literacy skills. Fully half of all global illiteracy is here in Asia. 1/3 women. Every single year we allow this to continue, inequality increases. And this is why, in addition to funding early years and all the other educational interventions that are needed, we also need to rapidly scale up provision of higher education. Because higher education is the pipeline to employment and prosperity. But the way that we currently fund higher education is ultimately inaccessible, especially to the poorest communities. And it's not scalable. Take scholarships, for example. They are a fantastic tool at finding an individual and changing their life trajectory. But the truth is that they are hugely capital intensive. If we were to provide an endowment-based scholarship to everybody who needed one, we'd need a minimum of $6 trillion. Global philanthropy today is around $2 trillion, just to give you the context. Student loans are a more sustainable way in which we can provide financing to get people into tertiary education, courses, universities. But in many developing countries, the cost of capital being charged to students is as high as 36% APR. We're simply pricing people out of the market, and those students who do take on that kind of debt are burdened by it for the rest of their lives. We need to think differently. At UBS Optimus Foundation, we have been trialing an innovative blended fund solution to try and address this issue in Africa, whereby just under $10 million of philanthropic capital as a first loss concession in a fund enabled us to leverage almost $12 million of institutional capital at much, much cheaper rates, allowing 10,000 students, 98% women, access to fair price student financing for the first time through an innovative income share agreement, whereby the student only repays once they meet a minimum income threshold, where they never repay more than 20% of their income at a time, and they never pay more than a fair market price for the finance. In an income share agreement, the academic institution itself is also liable for 20% of the losses, meaning they don't sell courses to students that aren't going to lead them to have a successful career. And for philanthropists, $100,000 invested in an instrument like this leverages another $100,000, meaning 100 students can get access to the financing they need to get that tertiary education. And ultimately, the philanthropic capital is all repaid because the students are repaying this. We trialed this for over 3 years, and currently, not only are we seeing full repayment, we're actually seeing an IRR of about 9% on fair price student finance in some of the poorest communities in the world. Through our call to action, the Asia Higher Education Fund, we want to identify, support, and replicate and scale innovations like this across the entire region. And I invite you to please come to our breakout later today to find out more about how we can all do this together. Thank you.